And we're live. Hi everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Um, so practically we are on that phase where we're trying to find like the best way to promote the. Okay, so I'm going to be calling it an application, but it's not an application actually. So it's just like a web app. So it's the platform. So I might be using the word platform and application interchangeably, but yeah. And we've tried reaching out to student travel agencies. We've also tried calling wildlife conservation rather, travel companies, flora and faunas, and we kind of got like some, what's that thing called again? I don't remember the word, but like when you're testing something and pointers, yes, we kind of got like some pointers that might not be the most fruitful effort right now. And so I just sat down yesterday thinking about a couple of things, and that's what I really wanted to share in the live session today. Sorry, I have my notes somewhere. We'll see. Yeah. Let me share my hypothesis with you and my thoughts. I think that when I was thinking yesterday, I felt like I've been looking at this thing the wrong way, right? Okay, well, maybe not necessarily the wrong way. So, but I've been looking at getting to B2C audience with B2B partnerships, which is amazing, right? It can be a great leeway. It's just that what I'm offering to B2B audience as of now is not enough for them to release their network to us, right? And just as we've tested with the, what's that thing called? The first campaign, we've realized that half the time B2B audience are looking at, first of all, oh, well, not audience, and they're not all B2B, just the specific ones that we've tested, that I have tested, is that they're more interested in what's in it for them, the long term, like, and then for some of them, they're also like very keen on what they can see, right? So that's why I said I've been looking at it the wrong way. Not necessarily that the test is bad, right? I've been offering what I think is great for a people who don't even care about it, right? And not that they don't care about it in that sense, but they don't care about the kind of rewards that I was giving to them. You get like telling somebody that will give them 10% whenever somebody books with us. It looks long term, honestly. And then when I'm on calls, I'm very straightforward with them, right? Because the adventure tour, the student travel agency might take time, right? So I'm like a year or two. And so because they cannot quantify what's in it for them, right? Then it becomes hard for them to commit to us. That's the first category. The second category is that some flora and fauna companies will like take volunteers, um, only want to expose their audience to volunteer projects, right? And then they make it seem like, on the calls that I've made, they make it seem like they do not control their audience, which I think is oddly strange. But it might be true. It might be true because there's so many companies that just send newsletter for the sake of it, you know. Yeah, there's no coordination here and there, but their audience responds to them because their audience trust them. Anywho, I've been looking at this the wrong way. So yes, now let's go back to framing. I have a note, but I can't seem to find it now. So this is where I am mentally. I mentioned two other options yesterday that I could potentially just explore. I think that instead of going through some other people to get people to contribute in this challenge and lending their voices to causes like this, I think it's just important that I just go directly using platforms like Instagram and TikTok, and then giving them rewards that are quantifiable, right? So when I was thinking of everything yesterday, I thought to just go to TikTok myself, go to Instagram myself, like make it an open challenge. Do you understand? Anyone who wants to come in can definitely come in. And so off the back of that is that the most engaged and consistent person get a prize of $100. I am also trying to, well, I'm talking to our suppliers. let's see if we can also give free experiences alongside this. So maybe we could do like a 2 hour sightseeing for somebody in Vietnam, and maybe another one, maybe a paragliding experience in South Africa. But we won't just be bearing like the cost of their flights and all of that. So it would be that whoever wins, whenever they are going to South Africa or whatever, that coupon is then is what? Redeemable. That's one. That's one way I'm going to be proceeding. The second thing I thought of was I mentioned on the live session that I just went on Facebook and then I looked for travel volunteers or volunteers abroad, and then I joined like quality groups actually where people are saying, "Oh, I'm looking for volunteers," and for some of those posts, on average, you get like 20 requests on them. But I've always had a problem with that kind of setting. Not always, I mean, with what we're looking for. Because if they are an independent company looking for volunteers themselves, posting it for free, they're not paying anybody. What that means is that they don't have structured data. Do you understand? So it just means that they get volunteers, and volunteers do what they want to do. That's the end. Only if people really like keep in touch, and that kind of like bothered me. And so I have decided that I'm going to reframe this experiment. Number one, I'm going to forget the idea of telling them to send. So basically, that's the two I'm focusing on right now: the Facebook groups, independent folks calling for volunteers, and then the second is TikTok and Instagram. Yes, so the price is applied to all. Doesn't matter if they come in through the independent or if they join the challenge on social media. It really doesn't matter. The prices apply to all. You get the $100 and we give two extra trips. It won't be for the same person. Maybe just three people altogether. So I'm forgetting it. Anyways, for partnership with people who are like individuals who are calling for volunteers, I'm gonna forget the idea of asking them to like send me a list or data. And right now, my partnership goal is now simple. You rub my back, I rub your back. That doesn't make any sense, but you get. So I'm not trying to say I'm keeping anybody in our ecosystem for long. No, there's no point opening stuff up or trying to make things difficult, because if that is where the industry is now, right now, our only strength, right, is playing to the industry's strength. There's no point trying to expand what's not working well or trying to introduce something new. First, we don't have the time for that. Secondly, we do not have the budget to begin to educate people. So, yes. So, what I'm offering those individual volunteers, not individual volunteers, I'm going to find a name to call them so that I do not keep confusing whoever is listening to this. Uh, let's just call them individual hosts because, of course, they host volunteers. So for this individual host, what I'm offering them is exposure in exchange for them sharing our challenge with their community of volunteers when our volunteers get to them. So we'll say that they're asking for volunteers and volunteers get to them. We can always say, "Oh, thank you for volunteering, yada yada yada. Do you know that while you're here you stand a chance of winning $100? Even your next trip could be to also volunteer somewhere in Vietnam if you do yada 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 yada." So what we're saying is that we're going to feature one of their projects and then tag them as like, feature it as from the perspective of like they're a change maker, right? And we don't need any kind of data from them. We just need them to tell their community about it. People who are volunteering with them, folks who have volunteered with them in the past about it, and anyone who registers right on Zago, and anyone who gets into like our system participates automatically also help like spotlight their project. So that's just it. They don't need to do any admin work. They look good because of course we're featuring their work, and we're not just featuring their work, we're featuring them as folks who are like um consistently adding to the economy of the travel industry, because they're either offering people shelter, they're either getting kids out of, I don't know, I mean, maybe they're getting more kids to school, maybe they're giving kids more supplies, but you get where I'm coming from. And then, they still grow their awareness and. So the truth is, even for folks that we're going to be partnering with right now, the moment I speak to people because they are individual hosts, I'm looking at my notes so I don't forget that I'm calling them individual hosts because I just came up with that this morning. So, I mean, not the idea, but individual hosts, we just came up with it on this live session together. So, for the individual host, the moment I speak to somebody, like, oh, that's okay, that's cool, yada, yada, yada. I do like, I'm going to create a pack, but I'm going to talk to the first person before I create a pack, actually. So, I'm just going to create a pack. There's a Loom video welcoming them. There are like a series of posts that they can share with their community to promote it, not necessarily community, but volunteers. And I'm requesting for a video about whatever it is they're doing. I'm posting it. I'm requesting for their logo about whatever it is they're doing. I'm posting how far they have come and all of that. So very easy, very simple. If I think about it very well, maybe we could even give them like a blog post spotlight. I don't know. I don't have the manpower to do that. But I could promise that in the future. I could promise it now and then I fulfill it in the future. So say January. Yeah, and so what we're going to do for them is we're also going to create like a supporting partner, which they are already, and I'm going to like design a simple badge that they can put on their social media or their website. Yeah, honestly, that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. I'm going to now go into Facebook. I mean, from tomorrow or maybe sometime later today, go into Facebook and start finding everybody who has ever written that they're looking for volunteers. Begin to get, because after the time they always attach their email and their telephone number. Then begin to call folks. And then when I call the first person, I think I'll call the first person on this live session. Mm, yeah, I could call the first person on the live session, and after calling the first person, from there we would see, okay, I may not call them on the live session, but I'm going to make a call and see what comes out of that. Then when I see how the first person responds, I'm then going to go ahead to create a partner pack for now using Google Drive. It's a lot of work for me to just go ahead and create this partner pack without really understanding how they work. I mean, I have some background knowledge because, okay, yeah, I've been watching that community for a while now, that Facebook community where people, individual hosts, they make their post. But yeah, so yes, that's how it really is going to work. Um, the partner pack will consist of a welcome video, a what's that thing called? A bunch of text that they can post every day over the next 1 month to promote the challenge. They can always like post to remind their volunteers and all of that. And then the price remains the same. We're giving the price, we're also like giving 2 trips. I'm gonna finalize on those trips. But the monetary price, oh, that remains the same. It would be so cool for you to go and volunteer somewhere and then you get like $100 extra without doing anything strange. And then I'm also going to work on the badge. Now I've been thinking about the badge, right? I think that if you put something like supporting partner, it really doesn't make so much sense. Sustainability partner too, it doesn't make sense because the fact that they are looking for volunteers or helping volunteers does not necessarily mean that what they're doing as what's that thing called, as a key sustainability element to it. We're very big on sustainability as a company, and we don't just want to give that anyhow to people because it makes sense or because it's nice, right? People must have really earned it. So I think that for every volunteer company that participates in this, we're going to give them an official volunteer partner certification at the end of the challenge. And the badge, I wonder if we're ever going to give them a badge, it wouldn't be a generic badge. I think it would be a badge that makes sense. Okay, not a sustainability badge, but it could be something like Sustainability Voices 2025, something like that. Because again, our challenge is not just going to be like just sustainability, it's going to be sustainability, safety, culture, and even volunteerism, right? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense now that we're talking about it. But yeah, that's where I'm mentally. I just have to go into the Facebook group, design like a welcome pack. And let's go through this welcome back together. So they're gonna get like a welcome video, promotion post, I believe in post, promotion captions. Let's just do captions. Last times 30, certification. They're gonna get a badge too, so they can be. Uh, I think it's just safety. I'll do safety. The safety is unique to our brand. Safety Voice 2025. Certification will be like official volunteer partner. Uh, volunteer partner. They also like get two social media posts. One, two social media posts. Is that not too much? I think one is just fine. And it has to be a video or something they've done in the past. Then maybe they get a blog feature. Just maybe. Hmm. We did get a blog feature. Okay, I mean we could bring them on off the path actually. Oh, they can't get a blog feature, but they can come on off the path. So we can do like off the path specials. Because the truth is, for the next 6 months, saboteurs may essentially not produce any blog posts because I'm not. My mind is not there yet, and it's not because we don't want to do it, but because it's not necessary for where we are now. Get people, get payments in, test our model. That's really where we are now mentally. And there are tons of ways we can do that without trying to hire somebody. In fact, if we ever get to that point where we're going to be creating blog posts over the next 1 year, if we ever, it will all be contributed blog post and not somebody directly from our company doing it. Yeah, so we could do like an off the part special. It's on Instagram live. So yeah, I think that's enough reward. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Then for the winners, they're gonna have $100. But for us to know who will win, actually, we're gonna be looking at consistency, and then we're gonna be looking at reach to like shares and all of that. And so if they get $100, then they're gonna have two trips. So it's not like it's one person that'll get all of this actually. Um, it's just three different people who would get all of this. It's not like a full day trip. We're not sponsoring their flight, hotels, and all of that, but we're sponsoring like the experience in itself. Alrighty, thank you everyone for tuning in today. I just thought that I'd share that with you, and we'll start like the first test later today or perhaps tomorrow on the live session. Thank you so much for your support. Partner pack. Another thing is we have to develop DMs. I would rather just find the people who I will send DM to and call them first to hear their opinion before I now go ahead to like do things in scale. Do you understand me? So yeah, I'm gonna call people. Um, then I'm gonna send them emails. So I need to create like a script of how I'm gonna present this to them and all of that. Thank you so much for your support. We're figuring it out one test at a time, eh? I think this is the fifth test. I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.